Pro's turn to ban.
And we're back for game number 2 of this best of 2. Rolling through the day, only 2 matches left following this one. This is our second game of Virtus.pro versus TongFu. And if the first game was any indication, we're in for a treat once again. Game 1, an up and down affair, went back and forth. Virtus.pro got off to a great start, really lived up to the expectations many have of them in terms of their aggressive play style and being able to use it to just flat out pressure a team. TongFu, lacking any outer tier towers, much past 20 to 25 minutes, somehow managed to hang on, and then after that, their execution just shined in ways that defy description. Virtus.pro, a little sloppy here and there, but for the most part did their job. TongFu was just so good in their counter initiation. They had all the tools using, in particular, Silencer's global ulti in conjunction with Unstable Concoction and the Ball Lightning Vortex coming out of the Storm Spirit. They just always seem to be able to outposition Virtus.pro and punish them immensely for it until finally a sub 40-minute GG was produced. Game 2, very important for VP, looking to put one in the win column. Want to split this series. TongFu, though, that's their third win today, and I'm sure they're going to be quite happy with their performance thus far. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, joined by Draskell as always, and yeah, man, that was definitely the best match of the day. I don't think there's any doubt about it. It lived up to what we both expected. 2 teams that like to play aggressive, and they came out swinging early and didn't really stop till the bell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Virtus.pro, you didn't have a choice. You kind of had to, because you knew at some point TongFu was going to become a superior late-game composition, especially having that Darkseer. I mean, King J last game had so many good vacuum walls that, honestly, it was insane. Like, every single time he hit at a minimum of, I think, 3 heroes, sometimes even 4. And when that kind of thing happens and you're already kind of at a deficit just because of your team composition and what it's unable to do against things like Global Silence, it makes it so hard to actually take fights. And that's what Virtus.pro's lineup was meant to do. They were meant to play aggressive. They got a lot of farm early on in Illidan. He got his armlet, his drums, his SNY, and they just continued to try to fight until they had absolutely nothing left in the tank. So I can't fault Virtus.pro for playing that style because they played it the way that it's supposed to be played. TongFu just played their style better. So for the next game, they already picked up the Nature's Prophet, who, of all heroes, is pretty much the jack of all trades of jack of all trades. Like, he is the epitome of I can do anything. So TongFu now, they have the choice to go for the Lifestealer again, and I don't think... Have we seen a game without Lifestealer yet? I don't think we have.
Because I don't think we've seen him banned, and he's been picked in the first phase every time he hasn't been banned. So yeah, we've been seeing a lot of LS and Darkseer. And actually, to tell you the truth, we've been seeing a lot of Venge. And granted, a lot of, Virtus.pro AA loves to play Vengeful Spirit, so that's not too surprising that. But, I mean, you can go months without seeing a Vengeful Spirit picked sometimes. We've seen her, this is at least the 3rd time that I can think of. So a lot of teams showing us similar looks. And yeah, I mean, up until that last game, it was usually one rolling over the other. So happy to finally have a game actually go the distance. But opening up with VP, getting Kasai, the Nature's Prophet, again, just phenomenal on that hero. AA will almost certainly be handling the Venge. They're certainly wide open, but when you look at just how, I mean, it's so hard to judge from the first 2 because you don't know what the overall game plan is going to be. But Lifestealer, Darkseer, those are 2 heroes that have a lot of punching power. Prophet and Venge, much more surgical in their approach. Heroes that tend to be used in very specific ways, whereas Lifestealer and Darkseer can just say, okay, we want to fight now, and we don't care how or when.
Yeah, I think Vengeful Spirit being picked this early, I mean, my question is why this early? Because obviously, I don't think I've seen anybody ban VS so far, even if it wasn't picked at all, just because Vengeful Spirit is a one-trick pony. She is an okay roamer at best, not a very good laner. She is good mid to late game because once she gets 11, the swap distance is actually pretty good. You can save people relatively easy, but you always end up sacrificing yourself. So it's kind of like a martyr hero. She adds some to a push because of the aura. She gets a decent amount of minus armor, so she adds a lot to teams who have good physical damage, and yeah, there's the answer. I was just going to say, the only reason why you would get Avenge that early is if you plan on going some kind of aura-centric strategy, and Luna is definitely a nice choice, but it's also important to keep in mind that Shadow Demon Lifestealer compositions are fantastic at bursting down heroes like Luna. So all they need to do is pick another support with some kind of nuke. It could be possibly a Visage because it's actually not banned this game yet. It could be a Leshrac. It could be a Lina. It could be any number of things. And that's why Luna has actually fallen off, is because people just pick bursty supports and then you just can't lane against it. So Luna has to pretty much not hit creeps.
At this point, when I look at Virtus Pro's lineup, especially in conjunction with that fantastic insight, it's if you're going to go all in on it, man. If you're going to pick a Luna, you're going to stack auras, go ahead and stack another aura. Throw in a Beastmaster. Beastmaster, I think, would actually be a really nice answer to this, being able to counter-initiate, being able to lock down the Lifestealer. The Bane is still available. If they want to pick up a support, they can account for the Lifestealer as well. So they certainly have some options open to them. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And we've seen aura stacking strats have success before, but it's usually because you just say, we're doing this and we're going to go all in on it. We'll get 3 auras or however much, and then just bank on us being able to whelm you at a time that we feel like we can. And there's that Leshrac pick you had alluded to. So I'm held, to be honest, right now. Like they've got a very potent offensive tri-lane. Like they should be able to pressure this whatever Virtus Pro is going to put together pretty damn easily. Because Venge, as you mentioned, not that great in lane, and especially very easy to kill off. Magic Missile is great at what it does, but what it does is consume her mana as well as be a decent stun and decent nuke early on. And if she's caught out with an open wounds or a disruption followed up with a split earth, there's just nothing she's going to be able to do. And Luna, as you mentioned, is certainly not tanky. As good as she can be in lane in the right composition, she really kind of needs people to be meat shields in front of her. And right now, especially with that Enigma pickup, most likely going to see him wind up in the jungle. That's just so open to abuse. I can't imagine TongFu not taking that opportunity.
I'm feeling aggressive tri-lane after seeing that Enigma coming from TongFu because they've left their Luna naked. Like, they don't have anything to stop the Lifestealer, Shadow Demon, Leshrac combo from just killing her repeatedly.
Yep.
If they go to that lane, the Enigma cannot help that lane until he gets at least a minimum of level 3, because level 1 conversions just won't be enough. He'll need level 2, and he'll have to spend a lot of time just harassing to make sure that the Luna can find some farm. Alternatively, Virtus Pro has a Prophet who can TP to the lane to try to alleviate some of the stress. But again, you're focusing so much on just allowing Luna to get something. And we haven't seen what the mid matchup's going to be just yet, because neither team has actually picked their mid, and we're actually waiting for the last ban out here from Virtus Pro. But my problem with Virtus Pro right now is that their team is greedy, like really greedy. You have Prophet, you have Enigma, and you have a Luna. So the Luna is not really going to be able to get any farm if TongFu decide to aggressively tri-lane. That's just how it's going to be.
Totally agree. And I mean, it just seems like I feel as if we're missing something. Like when I look at Virtus Pro, they're going to be good at pushing. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They're going to have some pretty decent team fight under a few circumstances. The problem is you have a hero that's already magic immune in the Lifestealer. You have very good save your buddy skills in the Darkseer and the Shadow Demon in particular. A well-placed Split Earth, of course, very much the same. And they're going to be so completely all in on the idea of the Enigma landing 3, 4, 5-man black holes. Like, if they don't have that, they don't have any lockdown. They have Venge's Magic Missile and they have Sprout. Like, that's the best that they can hope for at this moment. So Enigma is just going to be such a huge part of any success they're going to have. And I feel like that's something that could get very easily derailed by the aggression that I think we both anticipate. Spectre going to round out the 5 for TongFu, so they've certainly got some late game. They've got some mid game. I really like what they've drafted here, and I would dare say, seeing that Spectre pickup, yep, there's the Beastmaster pick, so they are going to go ahead and stack triple aura. But I say that Spectre kind of tells us it will be offensive.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of options here. It looks like it's going to be a Lifestealer played by King Jank, so it's not going to be a farming... Well, it will be a farming Lifestealer, but not like a one Lifestealer. So VP, they're doing it. They're doing the TP Roche. I was going to say, they have a Roche team, but they are doing the instant teleport. We need to get the Aegis immediately, and TongFu are not going to react fast enough. This is something that you actually can't stop unless you TP.
Yep. It's one of those things I'm surprised we don't see more often. We certainly see it a lot more often now since Alliance's famous usage of it in the G1 live LAN. But like you said, you can't the way that when they did it to DK, DK actually anticipated it and ran out of the well as soon as they could directly to the Roche pit, and you just cannot get there quick enough. You have to blindly teleport just in anticipation of it. So you have to be willing to just pull the trigger blind, and TongFu not going to be happy with that, but very well executed by VP, and I like it. You know, they come off a game that I'm sure they feel they could have won, and instead of coming out and just being flat and trying to just grind a game out, instead they come out with a gimmick and they get a nice lead. Well done.
Yeah, free level 2 is nothing to shake a stick at either, especially in lanes that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have done so well in. So now everyone, actually it's more than just level 2. It's like 2.5. And that means that the Luna is going to have one more point into her blessing just a little bit sooner. Means level 3 Enigma, means quicker tower. The thing about this particular strategy is that since you pretty much can't stop the Roshan unless you teleport, you're submitting to the fact that the push is going to be way stronger than normal. Because one extra level can make all the difference in the world, especially for heroes like Crazy and the Beastmaster mid. Instead of just having Axe's level 1, he also has Inner Beast, which means he's likely to push the lane a bit faster and could potentially get the rune. But then again, he is up against a Darkseer mid, so we'll see how this matchup ends up working out. Typically, Beastmaster does well against melee, but any melee against Darkseer is probably not going to be having the best time.
Still a little surprised they did decide to go ahead and just defensively tri-lane Hal. Would have anticipated it would have been the Nature's Prophet, and it would have been problematic, but I think the win that they could have taken out of the offensive tri-lane would have been worth the Spectre struggling a bit. But instead, they opt to go ahead and play it safe, and of course, a big part of that most likely owing to that early Roshan. Very possible they just changed their mind, and King J raging through the magic missile, so he's being zoned out pretty effectively. Really like what Virtus Pro has put together here early on. Let's take a look at our lineup, see who's handling who. It will be Hal farming the Spectre as mentioned. King J playing the Lifestealer for our millionth game in the row today. San Sheng will be playing the Shadow Demon. Leshrak going to be played by Banana. And Moo going to be taking our little purple guy into mid. The Darkseer going up against Crazy on the side of Virtus Pro. So he's actually taking a lot of damage here. It does have the Aegis, so not the biggest deal in the world still yet. Might want to hang on to that. On the other side, we got NS playing on the Enigma. The Luna going to be handled by Illidan Stormrage, farming up quite effectively with very little contention and actually being left alone to just go one-on-one with King J now. It certainly doesn't hurt to have that early advantage. Kasai, second game in a row, we see him on the Nature's Prophet, and AA, same story, second game in a row, playing on the Vengeful Spirits. So far, laning phase going about as planned. Well, about as planned given the early Roshan at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say. The early game laning phase is going to be pretty quiet for the most part. King J is going to get very little in this top lane, especially if he keeps eating magic missiles, and he's just trading, and this trade is not going to go well for him. Illidan's actually been forced to come down here and throw out a nuke, and excellent rage timing, so it looks like he's going to be just fine. And mid, gank as well.
Nope, Illidan going to go for it here in mid. We'll see them jump on Crazy. The Aegis already gone, they're going to get him twice, so first blood drawn. In the meantime, King J did manage to survive. Looked like Illidan was going to die before I flashed the camera away, but looks like he was left to his own devices. TongFu off to an early start. They're the ones to come out and land the first jab.
Welp. So much for that Aegis.
Yep.
But the problem really right now is the fact that they have no immediate answer for stopping Hal. And Spectre free farming in this game is a really big deal because they don't have a team that's actually really capable late game of killing a Spectre. I mean, a Luna with a full inventory could potentially kill a Spectre, but it's going to do so much damage to your own team in the process that it's really scary. And you're going to be relying heavily on the Prophet too, to actually be able to do secondary carry as well. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that just because of the fact that his own jungle is being taken right now by NS. So he's being forced to try to do Ancient, so he's not really going to be getting that much farm himself. So overall, I feel as though TongFu are still perfectly fine with the fact that VP did get a level 1 Roshan. And it is kind of gimmicky, and Virtus Pro do need to follow it up with getting some towers, because if they don't, it's going to be basically a repeat of Game 1. There's going to come a point where TongFu are just going to hit that stage where we can't actually fight you anymore, and it's going to go downhill very quickly.
No, I agree with you completely. You take an early Roshan. It's one thing to take it and then go into the laning phase and accomplish a goal or two, but you need to make use of those levels sooner rather than later, and we actually saw the reverse happen. Crazy jumped on and ganked out, so he was effectively nullified from that advantage. In fact, that advantage was given back to the Darkseer, who is right on par in levels with him now. And as you mentioned, elsewhere, Hal's not going to be too upset with things. Obviously, the Luna's getting some farm, but her farm sitting at 21 is actually still behind the Spectre, sitting at 27, as Illidan has spent some time and some effort trying to zone out the LS and trying to dive him and trying to make things happen. So as good as it is to have that effort, it does come at a cost, and even though it's marginal advantage differences, it's still an advantage difference, and it shouldn't be happening quite as much as it is, given they did take the early Roche. Speaking of, Roche will be back up in about 5. And this could very easily be one of those games where we see like 3 Roshans by 21 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think it could happen. I mean, VP obviously more suited to kill it than TongFu, at least in the early stages of the game. But VP do have a couple of things going for them. Clearly, they've had a little bit of an experience advantage for a while, and they're actually maintaining it, which is a good thing. And we can see that NS and Arside are actually smoking up here. If they dive King J, they're pretty much guaranteed to kill him, especially considering the Vengeful Spirit actually has boots, and he has no idea it's coming, and he's sitting at half HP with no regen. This should be a very dead lifestealer.
He's going to open wounds on Illidan, doing some good damage. Does not have his ulti. And they're going to be tardy to the party, but they should get there in time. Black Hole going to be spent just to secure the kill. And the Rage is going to wear off. He's a little bit of help coming. Does end up dying to Arzart's Magic Missile. AA makes it away with less than 70 HP, and the Shadow Demon just a little too late to get there to help. So on the board, Virtus Pro notching a kill. We are going to see Spectre's ulti used. And look at Illidan. Yeah, Spectre got 1 kill, almost got 2, as Spectre was able to track down Arzart, who was limping away with next to no health. And now, in essence, some trouble. 1 more auto attack, and that'll do it. That could have very easily been a triple kill. That was so close to being a triple kill for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually didn't go for the Luna. I suppose he didn't want to get eclipsed, so he just went for the easier target there. But that max dagger Desolate build, unbelievable amounts of damage output, especially when you put in phase boots. Supports, they can't live through that. Heck, even heroes like Nature's Prophet, when they're by themselves, they're not really known for being the tankiest of heroes.
Right.
So when you start getting hit for that extra true damage, at rank 2 Desolate, it's 35 extra damage on top of the 87 that he already hits for. That's insane. It's 6 minutes in and he hits for over 100.
And we can see Moo going back and forth with Crazy. Thought that Arzart might take a shot at it. He's short of level 6. Level 1 swap, not that impressive anyway, but Hal will resume his station down in bottom lane. Top 2 CSers on the board belong to TongFu. And Dungeon, it's not just that they own that status, they own it quite convincingly. To be ahead by 10 to 15 CS over the next 2 on the list, that's actually quite impressive, and especially given they're also ahead in kills. So it isn't as if they've just sat in lane and done nothing but rice for the last 6 or 7 minutes. So Virtus Pro, yeah, I feel like they're really just their movement's not there. NS is level 6 now. He could be going to help out elsewhere. AA, as you mentioned, this is kind of when she starts to feel a little bit better. She should be have her level 2 ulti before too long. She's almost level 6 now, and once she begins to roam and there's a team fight or 2, she should have a chance to get there at some decent clip. But this just feels like a lineup that shouldn't be doing what it's doing. And in fact, TongFu looking to catch someone out. They will spot out NS. They're going to go ahead and drop a ward, but not going to pursue.
Radiant's tower is under attack.
NS is actually level 7, so it's not too bad. Experience-wise, VP are still ahead. Like, they're doing fine. But they're very slowly but surely losing their gold lead. And this is something that they're actually supposed to be building on, rather than losing ground at such an early stage. I'm really surprised they didn't just go for the tier 1 top. I mean, why not? NS was sitting up there. He was level 5. He had level 3 conversions. Now he's been basically reduced to doing Ancients, which is definitely not as good. But it looks like KSI and Illidan are going to try to apply some pressure here. But in the meantime, they're just going to dive NS and kill him.
Yep, NS has no chance. Open wounds are there. Split Earth actually off the mark. But it doesn't matter. They get the kill regardless. Tier 1 top will be brought down. Should be traded away. They're rotating 1 down. That's crazy. Does have his ult up and just enough mana if they wanted to try to do something cutesy about it. But not going to be the case. Will just be a straight up tier 1 trade. The push potential coming out of both teams, not terrible for this stage of the game. And it looks like Virtus Pro is going to go ahead and continue to push here. That will force at least 1 reaction. Check that. It will be 2 as Sanshing does have a passenger along with him, but Virtus Pro, smelling that maybe it was time to vacate the premises, going to go ahead and pull back.
Dire's bottom tower is
I don't
under
mind that
attack.
choice too much from VP. It's more so that they always have to have the mindset of consistently trying to apply pressure. Even if you don't necessarily take a fight, even if you don't actually get it, make TongFu react to you. Because if you just let them play their own game, you let Hao sit down here and continue his farm. I mean, he's got drums and phase already, and it's not even 9 minutes into the game. Eventually, that Desolate's going to get maxed out, and oh, hold on. NS might be dead again.
NS, not good to hang around when you got these heroes here. Crazy's going to go ahead and spin a roar, trying to clean up Hal, and will be able to do so. The mech was just a little bit late. Could not save him after the roar and the axes. Mechanism up on Moo. And yeah, just a little slow on the trigger, so actually a decent trade for VP there, trading an Enigma away from the 1 position carry. But we'll take our first look at the gold graph now as we close in on 10 minutes. And right around even. 500 now in favor of TongFu, and you can see they've been playing from behind all game. They did cross the middle line just a minute or two ago, the experience actually still in favor of Virtus.pro, and it is leveled out, so they are maintaining it. But again, I think we both have kind of said the same thing in different words. It just feels like Virtus.pro should be doing something a bit more active and proactive with the lead that they had, and instead it has slipped away from them at this point.
Well, because of their composition, having levels is actually very important for VP. So having an experienced lead is probably a bigger deal than it would be normally for them. Just because heroes like Vengeful Spirit especially, they scale really well into the mid to the late game, because minus armor is fantastic, more points than a Vengeance Aura is going to be great for even adding more push potential. The problem is, TongFu isn't really that far behind in experience, especially considering they keep getting picks, and the more picks they do get, the closer that gap's going to be. And Arsar wants to try to go on mid, but it's very, very dangerous. Instead, looks like we're just going to see NS attempt to solo Roshan here while they try to distract by just kind of throwing spells out mid.
And we see this once in a while. It's pretty chancy if someone figures it out, and they may, now that they just saw Crazy walk right by. That should give it away. Yep, and here's the immediate reaction. And NS going to vacate. Eidolon's left behind. And we'll see how aggressive they want to be about it. Here comes Hal charging out, going to track down Crazy. And going to go ahead and use the ult. He's going to TP away. In the meantime, the rest of his team bringing up the rear. Unable to find a target. At top, though, there's a battle going on. There's a roar. Illidan trying to survive through it. They will be able to get at least one. Prophet's ulti goes off as well, so Kasai notching a kill or two. In the meantime, AA, not so lucky, will be traded away. That's a 2-for-1 going the way of Virtus.pro nonetheless. And NS, got to be careful, buddy, as he's died 2 or 3 times now. Right in this same position, we will see San Shing very low on mana. Probably not engaged, and we can just see TongFu's definitely winning the vision war. They are being very aggressive in their warding and making sure that they can create the space they want for that Spectre to farm.
Well, the interesting part about that is the space that they're creating, how he just randomly haunted the top. Like, I get that he wanted to try to avoid getting roared and such, but he TP'd into a tier 1 tower with 3 members of VP when Aluna was using Eclipse. Like, that is probably the most terrifying time to actually go to a haunt that I've ever seen. And it's a kill that VP desperately needed. Because up until that point, Hao was pretty much just doing his own thing, getting free farm, and no one was really contesting him. So, Illidan, though, he's gone for the Helm of the Dominator. He really needs a BKB. That's the unfortunate truth. And the nice thing about going BKB in this matchup for him is that normally you would say that they wouldn't have much physical damage, but they have Lunar Blessing, Vengeance Aura, and they also have minus armor from the Wave and the Beastmaster.
There's going to be a swap in order to follow it up. Now they're going to fight it. Black Hole goes off, only caught one. Rest of them locked down for the moment. They're going to mech through it, try to re-engage. Beautiful vacuum wall once again. Illidan has the Aegis immediately popped, and everyone is trapped. They can do nothing but do the Blair Ridge routine and stare at the back wall. Crazy. Going to be the next added to the list, most likely. And there you go, a double kill going the way of Hao. NS going to make it away with a very small amount of HP. They are going to try to pursue out San Shing. That's a 3-for-2 trade, but it did include the Aegis. So, TongFu getting there just a little bit late. Still with it. There's the haunt. He's going to try to juke it, and Hao gets himself another kill. Now they're going to re-engage. Illidan TPing away, will be able to make it away. AA not so lucky. Hao is just racking up the kills at this point. Guys, 7-2 in a 13-minute game as a #1 farming carry that usually you see sit back and not be this active. So by the time all's said and done, a fight that you could argue was more or less break even with VP getting the Rosh and then trading 2 for 3. Now they give up another one, and they're going to probably lose a tower over it, or at least have it chipped away at quite a bit.
Yeah, again, I mean, it was kind of needless aggression there from VP. They were chasing so hard in his Shadow Demon. I mean, you gotta be pretty desperate to do that. It looks like Moo is actually not gonna get away.
Roared right after the surge with Spectral Dagger. Mech plus the, Mech not enough to save him following the Magic Missile, I should say. 10-9. Another very active game that doesn't seem to be slowing down at all, or even showing signs of slowing down. 19 kills in a 14-minute game, and now Virtus.pro eyeballing the second tower they want to take of the game. Already took the tier 1 top. Let's see if they want to initiate. They've got everyone in position. Hal will throw the dagger. RSR going to be the target. They're going to chase him out. King J leading the way. There's open wounds on Illidan. He's going to pop Eclipse. There's a swap as well. AA actually just boned Illidan, and all that damage that Eclipse could have done removed by that. There's a nice Sprout. Isn't enough. King J going to try to track it down, diving quite hard into the enemy team. In the meantime, the fight rages behind us. We're going to see the Luna finally cleaned up. Sunshing back up. They're going to mech and get ready to fight some more. We see the Lifestealer traded away. Another vacuum, along with Banana, allows him to get a kill on the low ground. Wall goes off, and NS dodges the split earth. He's going to have to walk through the wall. And the Malefice is actually buying him enough time. Shadow Poison's on him. And nope, auto attack should be enough here as Banana. Yep. Auto attack's a little bit of lightning. So, TongFu, I actually feel like that was one of the sloppiest fights TongFu has had at the entire fight. However, Arzar, trying to be the good Samaritan and swap out Illidan, actually removed a lot of Eclipse damage that would have been eaten otherwise, and the fight really just went downhill from there.
It was really funny too, because when he threw out that swap, the Lifestealer actually raged. But here we go, more
another roar, they're gonna mech through it. There's another swap trying to get it back. What a vacuum! This entire series, he has been absolutely dominating and what he's contributed on that Darkseer. And that's a double kill, yet another one to add to Hal's total, make it 9-2 for Hal. They took the tier 1, they're gonna take the tier 2. And what to this point had been another close game, and actually Virtus Pro had been pulling ahead. Quite a change of fortune. 4,000 gold deficit now erased. And more than erased, swung into their favor. The pendulum that has been this series continues. And right now, TongFu, again, it feels almost like the same as game 1. Virtus Pro came out, they executed well in the early game, they were building themselves a marginal lead. Then the execution and the coordination of this squad is just so much to overcome.
I really gotta hand it to TongFu, man. Like, they get in these deficits, right? And their decision making is just so calm and collected. They know exactly what they should do when they should do it. When they saw that there was going to be a level 1 Roche, you know, they probably thought about the TPs and said to themselves, we're not even going to try to stop it. We're just going to let them do it. Because the worst case scenario is they're going to push a fast tier 1. They're going to start moving around the map with 1 support. And Enigma's not really going to be roaming that much. They might try to do a 5-man deathball type push. If they do that, by the time they start getting to the tier 2s, we're going to have enough levels to actually defend anyway. And the game went better than that, obviously, but that was probably the mentality they had going into it. So, really nice play by TongFu. Obviously, they've been playing fantastic all day. I don't believe they've actually dropped a game yet, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't think they're going to be dropping this one either, just given the way that it's going. Especially considering Hao has his Relic now, and he's going to have his Radiance done in another 600, give or take, gold. That's a phase drums and Radiance at probably like 18, maybe 19 minutes.
Oh yeah. A little bit out of control. And of course his performance, Vinge, actually does manage to find the Lifestealer. Not even sure where that happened. Looks like it happened over by the side shop. Crazy Vinge and Kasai getting the job done. But, yeah, I mean, you take a look at the net worth, he is not just ahead, he is trumping anyone on the map, including his own teammate, which is in second position, sitting at 6,000. He's damn near 9. So 33%, give or take, a third more gold than anyone in range. It's hard to believe we're just 18 minutes in. It feels like a much longer game given the action we've seen. 27 kills in an 18-minute game. We are getting a breather now as both teams seem to be falling back. Illidan has picked up the helm of the Dominator. Will be getting his BKB next. That BKB desperately needed. But the problem is going to be, I think, that by the time he gets it up, Hal's going to be doing so much right-click that the BKB's usefulness, I mean, it'll do what it's supposed to do. It'll keep her alive, keep her away from stuns and the such. But it's still going to be tough for her to be able to eat through that damage.
And the problem is, too, even if you have a BKB on yourself, the Radiant Spectre is going to become a huge nuisance for heroes like even Enigma, the Vengeful Spirit, the Nature's Prophet. The amount of damage that you take if you're actually getting desolated by the Haunt, so if you're farther away to actually break the range limit, which I believe is 325 away from any allied unit, which is pretty common, actually. People kind of just spread out in fights. It just happens.
Yep.
And you're going to get destroyed. Like, you're going to get hit like 2 or 3 times, and you're going to have no health left. So BKB is going to be great for her, but they need to have support items. They need a mech desperately. Oh, actually, they do have the mech. Never mind. As Crazy actually has it. And it looks like a courier snipe is going to be occurring. Where the heck did that courier just die?
No idea. I was trying to find it too. Here we go. TongFu's just gonna rush up and take a fight. AA gonna be open wounds. There's a split earth to catch him out. Black holes there. Caught 4. Do they have the damage? Can they clean it up fast enough? They can. Big win. Desperately needed by Virtus Pro. Moo going to continue to try and fight through it, but no. Buy back out of VP as they're losing heroes left and right now. Moo now is doing the ring around the rosy routine. How? Locked down for the moment, but not willing to give up the chase. Kasai, nice swap by AA. AA just saved Kasai, no doubt about it. The burn damage would have gotten the job done. They're going to rush back in on Hal, but what the hell? That makes no sense, except for the fact that Hal is gigantic, and they just rushed in with no health, and it even kills off the poor Hawk as well as the boar. That Radiance burn damage, that was bizarre to me. Both of them could have gotten away. They turned to re-engage with very little health and just died to nothing but Radiance burn.
You remember that time where I said that Radiance is going to be a really big problem? Because that fight lasted like a good 45 seconds or something crazy like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, you couldn't have asked for better initiation if you repeat. They got a 4-man black hole, pretty much.
Yep.
The roar hit everybody, dealt damage to everybody. He roared the person in the far back just for that purpose, and they didn't win the fight.
Yep. They had the fight won at one point, I'll tell you that. At one point, it was basically just Moo running in circles saying, what the hell, I'll hang around till Hal arrives and we'll see what we can do. And they had picked, there were three down for 1 or 3 down for 0 at one point. And then they just hung around too long. They hung around, got greedy, tried to extend that fight, tried to take more than they could. And nicest play of it was the swap from AA to save Kasai from, it was probably going to be 2 more ticks of Radiance burn damage and he would have been dead. It was a very nice play, but in the end, TongFu takes a loss, and Virtus Pro manages to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The gold is actually still moving in their favor, though. That's kind of the surprising thing. That's just the strength of having an Atrus Prophet on your team. Luna, of course, with maxed out Glaze, or 3 points in the Glaze at the very least. Farms very, very quickly, very efficiently. But, you know, TongFu just, the Spectre has gotten so big so quick that by the time, hang on, they're going to go ahead and engage. There's the BKB used up. And they're right on top of her. They're going to try to just kite it out. Mech is there. There's the Infest back out. There's the Haunt as well. And they're going to continue to chase Illidan. BKB finally runs out, as does his time. And the rest of Virtus Pro going to be forced to withdraw. Not a whole lot they can do. And that's kind of what we're talking about. You look at the graphs, and it seems a lot closer than it actually is because Hal has just become such a force and such a monster right now.
Yeah. Speaking of Hal, I really want to know why he even bothered using his ultimate right there. It's a little bit strange. He could have very easily just pushed the top tower instead. KSI is just going to casually teleport out with his Shadow Blade on. So, he kind of did waste his Haunt there. I'm pretty sure they had the Luna dead to rights no matter what. And he could have actually had the tier 1, I think, at the stage. But it doesn't really matter that much. I still feel like TongFu is in a pretty secure position. The one thing, though, for VP is if the Luna gets up and they go straight for the Roshan right now, Hal will have to react pretty much immediately, and they're actually just going to go in anyway. There's no vision right now from TongFu. I'm not entirely sure if they realize that they're doing Roshan, but they should have some inkling. And there's an invis on the Leshrac as well, and there's no sentries down inside of the pit, so Banana's going to spot it.
Roche drops. Banana realizes he is in a den of vipers, and will go ahead and withdraw, wait on his team to come back. I was off by about 2 minutes, by the way. 3 Roshans by 23 minutes instead of 21. This is one of those games. But Virtus Pro, I'm really impressed with the way they're holding on to this game. I feel like TongFu has really played well. And the graphs, again, tell one story. But they do just feel like they're so much more ahead because they don't really have a dedicated answer for what Hal's going to be able to do once he adds maybe 1 more item to his inventory. But for now, they're at least extending the game and trying to give as good as they get.
Yeah, the Spectre is going to have a Manta soon. That's going to be... You know how they refer to his anti-mage finishing farming at 3 a.m.? Well, when he gets the Manta, it's 3 a.m. for him. Because all he has to do is find 1 person on the map, and he haunts realities to that person, Manta, Dagger, dead hero.
Yep.
You die so unbelievably fast because Manta actually gets Desolate that it's like mind-blowing. The damage I put on Spectre is crazy high at this stage.
Tier 2 top, one of only 2 remaining. On the side of VP will be traded for the Tier 2 bottom of TongFu. And let's see, heard the Infest. Yep, they're going to let Hal hang around for a bit. They're going to try and bait out some kind of reaction. Sansheng did go ahead and leave while 2 did teleport home from TongFu. That'd be Banana and Moo. Waiting to see if Virtus Pro is going to try to make use of this Aegis. And certainly they will, but not right now as they do go ahead and pull back. Taking a look at the net worth as amazing a job as the Prophet's doing, and Luna keeping up with the Joneses as well. However, Spectre is not named Mrs. Jones. That's Stepford wife. She is wealthy, sitting on 15 or 14.5 net worth and just continuing to get bigger. Like you said, the Manta practically already in her pocket, and I'm anxious to see how they're going to decide to play that out. Like, you know, if you're Virtus Pro, how do you react to that? Do you decide to sit back and wait to be pushed just so you can stay safe and try to avoid it like you would something like an IO gank? Or do you say, okay, let's just go ahead and try to take the fight to them, try to get the jump, try to pick off one or two heroes and win that way? Just always be taking fights where we have a numerical advantage, if not a firepower advantage.
The problem is, you're never really going to get the jump on TongFu.
Right.
We saw a situation where NS was in the perfect position. He got a great black hole, didn't matter. So I was going to say that maybe NS could go for something like a blink, but the problem with that is that Spectre Haunt stops the blink. So he's not going to be able to really do anything with the black hole and a blink dagger unless he's already in position. But he does have a BKB, which means that there's no way for them to stop the black hole once it's started. And hopefully, with Luna having level 3 Eclipse soon, he's level 15 right now, and the Vengeful Spirit actually going for semi-carry items, he's got like a Yasha and a Mithril Hammer,
Right.
they're going to have enough damage to actually kill everyone inside the black hole. And there were buybacks the last time they fought around the Rosh Pit, by the way, so it wasn't as if VP just lost the fight even after getting a 4-man black hole. It was kind of like TongFu had more money, and they could afford to buy out.
Right.
But how he is currently on the chase.
We can see Virtus Pro will go ahead and smoke up. They pull back. Smoke is 4. They've got Kasai as bait in mid, perhaps anticipating movement there. And Sanxing and Mu living up to their expectations. Never mind, they're going to double back to the secret shop, and they have a chance to catch Hal. This could be huge. There's the stun. Hal locked down. Kasai's making his way in. They're going to roar him down as well just to secure the kill. And the rest of them are now going to rush in. The buyback and now the immediate Haunt looking for targets. Hal's back up, trying to chase him down. AA actually just ate the cheese. And now, in the meantime, they're going to get a kill near the secret shop. AA will be traded off as well. Aegis was already cleaned up, and Illidan, very, very fortunate to make it away there. The damage output showing itself just not as high as Hal needed it to be. 1 or 2 more swipes might have been enough. So they do manage to pick off the carry and force a buyback, but they give up 2. Thankfully, they did not lose their carry.
Come.
Yeah, I mean, How having the buyout is kind of a bummer, but that's one of the risks you run when you go for a Spectre. And he hadn't bought an item in quite some time, so it was reasonable to expect that he would have buyback, but it's too good of an opportunity to pass up to not kill him.
Yep.
I mean, if you make him spend the money on buying back, even if you lose 2 heroes in the process, that's still borderline okay if you're VP, because it prevents How from just filling his inventory with even more stuff, which is like the last thing that you possibly want right now. And at the same time, since there was such a big reaction, you can do things like potentially pressure side lanes, which is what KSI was doing, is trying to push in bottom a bit, and Banana's kind of just chilling here in the woods doing his own thing. He's actually pretty on his way to a Bloodstone. He's about 500 away from it. And that's nice because when they realize that they lost the fight, he can just use a new activate and just kill himself instead of giving away more gold, which could possibly happen.
Virtus Pro, again, not just, I mean, it's so easy to just look at the graphs. It is, they're ahead right now in terms of gold. The experience is in favor of TongFu, but I really do admire their tenacity here. This is a game that could have gotten away from them, especially after a couple of the turnarounds we saw in some of those fights. If they got reckless, if they decided to play overextended or a little bit too aggressive. But for now, just continue to hang on and hang in the game. Taking a look at some of the items our heroes are sporting this time around. Yasha in the inventory of Illidan. We'll see if he is going to opt to go for the mantle. Would not be a surprise. Yasha for AA, as you mentioned, now going for a BKB. That's going to be the 3rd BKB on the side of Virtus Pro. So Magic Community, it's actually going to be the 4th once Kasai finishes his. And it looks like it's going to be a Scepter pickup for, well, actually, I don't know. He's got 1,600 gold, I guess. Crazy just hanging on to buyback at this point.
Yeah, having buyback is a necessity. And it's not really that expensive at this point. For him, it's only, I think, 920-ish gold. So, BKB now completed on the Prophet, which means that most of the members of VP doesn't afraid of magic. Oh, but fight bottom.
The Eclipse baited out along with 2 BKBs. Now TongFu might be able to pursue this out. They're all grouped up, and Moo's going to look for a vacuum and a wall. The roar interrupted the combination. They're still going to pursue a black hole. Manages to catch 2. That's King Jade. How then look at the damage. What? An unbelievably well shot Split Earth. And off of that, they're able to re-engage. The mass damage output just too high. And Kasai, trying to make a run for it with his BKB, will make it a full 5-man wipe. TongFu's patience there, truly a thing to behold. They baited out the Eclipse, they baited out the BKBs, they chased them back, they ran back into the woods and just hung out and waited. And when they re-engaged, they executed in a truly impressive way. 29-16 with all said and done, and TongFu taking a victory march down top lane.
Well, I gotta say, House played a pretty awesome game, but Banana just got my MVP for that stuff.
Oh, man.
My God. That was
man.
like... That might have been the best Split Earth I think I've ever seen. Because it's one thing to stop a black hole with a Split Earth, but he had 2 extra heroes, one of which didn't even look like he was in the animation of the spell.
Yep.
And that was enough to pretty much just end the fight instantly. So they're going to get a set of racks here. Might even get a kill.
AA caught with another well-shot Split Earth. Now they're going to chase down NS, and this is what happens. When you have a team like TongFu this dominant, this is what I think we've been expecting for a while. There was going to just come this moment when TongFu just started to feel like that team that can just take a Rax and dive you as you respawn and not care. They notch a couple more kills. Top Rax is now down. And Virtus Pro up against it in a big way. So hard to play against the Spectre whenever you have no map control. They do still have 1 tower, but despite it. And Sanxing, actually, I heard a disruption. Sanxing earned up and will be searched. Another Split Earth! And they're going to swap him out. AA sacrificing himself for his carry. But another Split Earth to bailed his buddy out almost certainly. They're going to come back in. Crazy in the next on the list. And Hal gonna pursue Illidan to the tier 4s. BKB is up. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. The man is a madman. Chasing him back to the Ancient. Tallying more kills. That's going to be 55 seconds until Luna's back up. They finish off what remained of the rubble that was that top tier 3 and Rax area. Now they're going to pull back and they're going to smoke again. And Kasai, I don't think he should be the target. He's a bit away, but nonetheless, TongFu has taken another close game and blown it wide open for the 2nd game in a row.
It's kind of heartbreaking for VP. They've been really close proximity and gold and experience for a very long time. But they never really felt like they could fight. And now, after getting beaten 2 times relatively badly in a row, you can see the difference in the gold and the experience. Now it went from like, not so bad, to, oh God, what the hell happened, especially in regards to the experience, just because of how many heroes they lost. So now it's kind of really in TongFu's favor, whereas earlier I would say that there's probably an opportunity for Virtus Pro to come back via a really big black hole, followed by an Eclipse combo, or just solid play. Now it's kind of at that point where the supports are even ridiculously farmed. If you're crying out loud, the Leshrack's got bots and a Bloodstone. I mean, it's support Leshrack. The Shadow Demon has a Blink and a Force Staff.
The support Leshrack is within 1,800 gold of Luna, of the 1 position of the other side. So yeah, he's doing all right. Speaking of doing all right, 19,000 coming up on 20,000 net worth now for Spectre, who is quite literally doubling, or almost literally doubling, the next highest on the entire board, which is her own teammate. The highest on the other side, right in that same realm too. But yeah, you're talking, this has gotten out of control quick, fast, and in a hurry. Roshan back up. Looks like both teams have their eye on the big man. But really, this is TongFu's game to dominate. We are going to see Virtus Pro trying to make something happen. Going to swap out How immediately. Mantis will be caught with the stuns, and Banana going to land another Split Earth. However, do they have the damage? Eclipse goes off, and he's going to be disrupted. Vacuum into the wall. Enigma's gone. Illidan next on the list. Kasai doing what damage he can. They're going to pursue the other 2 out. In the meantime, Kasai chased down into the back secret shop area. He makes it away. And only him teleporting away makes it another, or saves it from being another full 5-man wipe. The execution TongFu has shown us, not just in this series, but across the entire day, the way that they react to being forced into team fights, their decision making, they're just going to call it GG. I am just so impressed with this TongFu squad. And so much of it has to do with patience and quick thinking. It's just so good to watch.
Yeah, their teamfight capability, their coordination, communication is definitely top-notch. I mean, just watching them in teamfights, you can tell that this is a team who is one that you're going to want to look out for. It doesn't matter if you're Alliance or IG or LGD China, whoever your favorite would be for the tournament. TongFu definitely has the capability to play on that same level, and they've been showing it all day today during the games that we've been watching. But I have to give credit to VP. It's not like they got completely ran over in either game, per se. They actually had the longest series of the day, so props to VP for putting up at least a decent fight against TongFu, who I think if you ask any of the Eastern teams, we're probably expecting them to place very, very well at TI3. So not really a surprise to see Virtus Pro fall prey to them. But of course, this is, again, just for seeding and stuff, so it's not the end of the world. I feel like these kind of lineups rely so heavily on keeping your advantage that the second one thing goes wrong, everything goes wrong.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, my friend. That's going to be our fourth series of the day put into the books. TongFu prevails over Virtus Pro, taking both games. And one of them, in the most thrilling match, as you had mentioned, the most entertaining match we've seen in terms of just pure competitiveness. And Virtus Pro, I think, should feel, I mean, you don't want to say you feel encouraged by a loss, but they played well. They didn't come in and just lay an egg. They did a pretty good job. And if anything, hopefully they can use that as motivation, because I feel like these are two games they could have won if a couple of things had gone their way. But in the end, TongFu just took control with, again, their coordination, decision-making, and team fight capabilities, and just decided to snatch it away from Virtus Pro. Our next series is going to be coming your way in about 15 minutes. That's going to be Dignitas and LGD, another East versus West matchup. And then after that, our final of the evening, TongFu back in action, taking on yet another West team in Team Liquid. Make sure you stick around, guys. Again, 15 minutes from now, going to be Dignitas taking on LGD Gaming. I'm AC. That's Straskell. We'll be right back.